As we continue on, we're going to be talking about keyboard shortcuts within applications themselves. We were talking about Windows-wide keyboard shortcuts. Now we're talking about the things that affect the programs themselves directly, and it's pretty consistent in all the Office applications. Not everybody who produces software for Microsoft or in Microsoft follows these standards, but if they do, it's worth checking. And a lot of third-party vendors actually do follow these standards. Almost every application supports these, and Microsoft's getting better at creating consistency throughout. That's kind of at the impetus behind the ribbon, was to have a consistent user interface on all products, from Outlook to Project to any number of Office programs. So, in any case, let's begin with Control plus something else, like the Tab key. Remember we did Alt Tab a minute ago, and Alt Tab showed us different programs. Control Tab will show you different files that are open within an application. So like if you have 12 Word documents open, you hit Control Tab, it bounces from one to the next. Remember Alt F4, that meant close things. Control F4 means close this document. So again, if you have like 6 Word documents open, you want to close one, hit Control F4. So you hold the Control key down and tap the F4 key once. Boom, goes away. Control P, want to make a guess? Print. Again, like I said, when I opened up 2007 for the first time and saw the ribbon, I was like, wow, I can't even print a document, because it wasn't real obvious how you did things like print preview. But if you hit Control P, which has been around again since day one, that means print a document. Let me give you a quick rundown of the ones I can do off the top of my head here. Control P for print, B for bold, I for italics, U for underline. Trying to remember if it's 1, 2, and 3, or F1, F2, F3. I think it's Control 1, 2, and 5 for single spacing, double spacing, and 1.5 spacing. Control, we'll do it here in just a second, ZX, C, and V. ZX, C, and V are in this order: undo, cut, copy, and paste. So Z is undo, X is cut, C is copy, V is paste. You know what Control Y does? I'll give you a hint. It's related to one of these. Control F for finding things. It just goes on and on. I mean, for pretty much every key on the keyboard, there is some kind of shortcut. There are relatively few keys that do not. F for find, H for replace. So just use the Control key and start tapping stuff on the keyboard and see what you get. A little bit of warning there: Q and W used to mean shut things down. So if you hit Control Q or Control W, you might shut whatever program you're in, with or without saving changes. By the way, Control A is all, like select all. To get into file, save as, and things like that, you don't do the Control key necessarily. Control S does mean save usually, but in any case, you use the Alt key for things like that. Alright, I will get into showing you all a link to give you kind of an in on some of the keyboard shortcuts, and I'll actually show you how to do that here in just a moment. Alright, so let's get started here. I'm going to flip over to my desktop, and if you remember, when you hit F1 at the desktop, it brings up Help, but it's Windows Help. To maximize this, you can hit the button over here. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, but if you hit this blue bar, this is just another little shortcut that has kind of been consistent since Windows first began. If you double click that, it's an easier target, and it expands it to maximize it. And then, of course, I can click anywhere along here, double click, and that will make it shrink back down. Okay, so you'll notice when you look in the categories here, there is no category that says how to absolutely master the use of our operating system, and how to consistently transition from one version to the next. So you have to explore or take a lunch lesson so that you can do something as simple as keyboard shortcuts, not Kurtz. Alright, so as I go into the keyboard shortcuts, pardon me, there are quite a few options here, and I kind of like just the plain keyboard shortcuts. All right, but you'll notice that it's got them for Internet Explorer, Windows Media Player, sticky notes. You got it. Screen capture, by the way, print screen. We go into that in the use your keyboard, whole keyboard lunch lesson. Regardless, these are all applications that come with Windows, not things like Office products. Okay, to do those, you have to go into the Office product and do the keyboard shortcut search from there. But I'm going to open up the general keyboard shortcuts. They have ones here that are specifically for using if you have like a hurt arm or you have trouble seeing, that kind of thing. If you've had a stroke recently and you are incapable of using one side, you can kind of do things here to make life a little bit easier, like the shift key. If you just tap it 5 times real fast, it will turn sticky keys on, which means when you hit control and another letter, you just tap the control key and it'll act like it's being held down until you hit the other key. So anyway, those are the access ones. But here's the list that I think you'll enjoy the most. The general keyboard shortcuts. Right here, F1. Like I said, displays help. The Control, ZX, C, and V. I don't know why they put them in this order, but I like ZX, C, and V. Here's the answer to the question I asked a bit ago. Control Y is redo. Z, undo. Y, redo. Here's an interesting one most folks aren't aware of. When you hit the delete key, in Windows, like you're in a directory listing, you hit the delete key, it puts that item into the recycle bin. Okay, see right here? Shift and delete deletes the selected item and does not move it to the recycle bin. It skips go, does not collect $200, it goes right to oblivion. If you need to restore a document after doing this, take a lunch lesson on how to restore your hard drive. Goes into the other F keys, the Control key, Shift key. Like I said, use Control, Shift, and Alt pretty much throughout. The Windows key, Tab is how you can also flip through your taskbar. Since we're in Vista, you get that trippy 3D thing, and I honestly haven't used it that much, but here we go. Woohoo! Look at that. Boing, boing, boing. Pretty cool, huh? Right back to my help. In any case, the Windows key is not to be forgotten. Not every keyboard has it. If you go back a few years and if you go to different models of computer that do not necessarily partner with Microsoft, you'll see that there might not be a Windows key, but there'll be another key where the Windows key normally is, and they call it the meta key. All right. So anyway, this is a pretty comprehensive list. You get a little bit more here for dialog box navigation, keyboard, the Microsoft keyboard shortcuts with the Windows key. Explorer, when you're inside the Explorer window. See how many we got here? It just goes on and on and on. Look at that. Like I said, throughout Windows, you will find literally hundreds of these puppies. Alright, so let's flip back to our thing here and talk about using your mouse more fully. Now, when it comes to using your mouse, the vast majority of Windows users that I've ever run into, funny thing, since it's a windowed environment, the vast majority have never fully utilized all the features of their mouse. That's why we have a lunch lesson that is the 10 or more things that you can do with your mouse. I know most people can kind of stop at 3. Click, double click, and right click. Maybe scroll if you got a scroll wheel. So they kind of like tap out at 4. So in any case, I highly recommend if you are not fully utilizing your mouse, take that lesson and learn what all you can do. I'm going to tip you off to a couple of the more advanced things right now. First and foremost, right click everything. Why? Because it works. It always works. It has always done the same thing. It gives you a context sensitive help menu, or more recently it's giving you options related to whatever it was you right clicked on. So when you put your mouse on top of something and right click, it will give you information specifically about whatever that was you just right clicked. As a matter of fact, hey, let's right click inside here. Look at all the little goodies. And of course, when I hit my best buddy, the escape key, that goes away. Alright, so just get in the habit of right-clicking absolutely everything. It always works and has never changed. It has always given you context sensitive help about whatever it was that you just clicked on. Another thing you could do, click drag or right click drag. When you click and drag things, you get different options. It's generally moving things. If you hold your Control, Alt, and Shift keys down while you're clicking and dragging, you might want to do that and see what kind of results you get. But remember, Control, Alt, and Shift, I mentioned them before, can be used in combination with themselves and other things, including the mouse. You definitely want to try it. And now we have the Windows key as a player. You might want to look into some of the things you can do with that. And when you right click and drag, you get even more options like moving instead of copying. And of course, watch your mouse pointer. Look at what it's doing, look at how it's shaped. Right now my mouse pointer is off to the right of the screen here, and I have a pointer which is made specifically to do that, point at things. Now as soon as I touch my my little slide here, I get an insertion point. I get the little eye that tells me that I can edit, which actually I can't do in this document, but it lets me highlight stuff. Okay, so anyway, get used to watching that mouse pointer. See what it does. See what it doesn't do. And anytime it flickers, it's giving you a hint. It's letting you know, hey, I might be able to do something else here. Alright, so we'll move on here. Okay, so after doing the mouse, what's left? Well, nothing important. Just exploring things safely. Not choosing or changing things in the process. Just poking around, taking a look at stuff. The safest thing to do is look for these little guys. The ellipses. I don't know if you can see them right there, the three little dots. When you see an ellipse, that literally means there is more to look at. So a dialog box will open, another screen will open, something is going to open. You haven't said yes, you haven't said no, you haven't said select this. You just said show me what else is out there. Along those lines, if you see any little down arrows or little left or right arrows, those are safe as well, and that just means there's more options. Sometimes the right pointing arrows are on the edge of the screen, the right hand edge of the screen, and the further option or further layer of menus will pop up on the left. So the drop down arrows means that you're going to choose something from a list. You know, you've seen them on the web. It asks you what state you live in. You hit the little arrow and it pops down and shows you all the states. The right pointing arrows just means go down a level. So if you're in a menu and you see a right pointing arrow, it means, hey, there's something else that you can do, like, I don't know, like font sizes, stuff like that. You hit an arrow and it says, oh, here's a whole bunch of stuff you can choose. Excuse me. This is about it for the first part of this lesson. I would like to thank you for your time and attention and invite you to go to lunchlesson.com and principal.org. Lunchlesson.com has 15-minute lunch lessons specifically geared toward busy professionals and how to make the most of your time. Principal.org is more of a business coaching site, and it goes into personal and business coaching for basically creating connected companies, ones that hold true to a vision, reconnect with their commitments, and create their future. So thank you for your time and attention. We sincerely appreciate you taking this lesson. There is a lesson specifically geared toward the ribbon, and that's where we're going hopefully next. So please look at lunchlesson.com and take the new ribbon course.